Yeah, I'm not doing any more painting today either. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Deep Thoughts Thin Coats with me, Phil, the Glacial Geek. As you can see, I am pretty much emptied out here. We've got all our stuff came and got picked up. We leave on Monday for us to take off, but so we're still here for, it's about a week that we're here without all our stuff, and we take off, and then it's about 10 days of travel. Then we'll get down to Savannah, and our stuff's going to come a couple weeks after that, I think. So so no painting today. Probably not going to be any more painting for a couple weeks now because of the fact that my stuff still needs to get down there. So maybe we'll see if what I need to do, what happens. But regardless, today is Deep Thoughts Thin Coats, and it's going to be sans the coats. So they're just, as someone suggested, just very, very thin coats. So thin you can't even see them. So thin I'm not even doing them. So I guess there's going to be quite a bit of probably echo with this just because the room is empty. It's kind of weird here in the geek lair here with nothing around. So I've just got my stuff out. This is kind of my workstation for the next week. So still filming battle reports, still doing all of that as I go on. I've got a tournament on Saturday. So still got a lot more gaming to do, just no painting. All that modeling stuff has been sent on with the movers, so we'll set everything up once I get down there. So today's topic that we're going to talk about is actually was actually spurred by me moving down there and some of the thoughts that it gave me. But today I'm going to talk about developing a community, a Warhammer community in your local area. It's going to be a kind of a twofold thing. One is discovering if maybe there's already an established one there that you just don't know about. And the other is going to be if you've exhausted your search and you can't find anything, establishing one and seeing how that works, and trying to make it, because one of the only reasons I was able to do what I'm doing now is because of the community that I found here. And I'm lucky enough that I'm moving to a place that does have an established community that I hope to get involved in and hope to develop and make strong, because a local community really fosters interest in the hobby. And it also fosters a lot. It also it encourages you to keep going with it and makes it more fun. The more people you've got involved, the more people around that you can play with, the more people you can talk to and communicate with and bounce ideas off of, the better. So we're just going to go into that. So we're going to start off with finding out if you've got a local community that you're just not aware of. The first thing I would do if you are sitting there and you're like, well, there's no community I know of here wherever I live. I get that a lot actually in a bunch of comments where people say nobody plays it around here. There's no one for miles and hours of driving before I can find a game store that has anything. So the first thing you need to figure out is if that's true, because I've lived in some places that just I didn't think had anybody that was around there, and I did find some nerds. They weren't Warhammer nerds, but they were nerds, and you can get them to do so. At the time, I was really into HeroClix, and I got them to play some HeroClix. I left pretty soon. This was when I was in Macomb, Mississippi. It was a small town or city, 14,000 people, and I was able to find like the few nerds that lived there and got them into playing some HeroClix. But I left. I didn't really get there to develop a community around it there because I ended up leaving. So. But if you're in where you're living for a while and there doesn't seem anything around, it's important to look around, see who's out there, find the other nerds, because you'd be surprised who's out there, and a lot of times people don't know how to get in touch with each other, and that's what prevents a community from getting established. That's what prevents a community from coming together is everyone just not knowing what they're doing, not knowing how to get together, not knowing how to come together to play games, to meet up, to talk, and kind of share the experience of being a nerd with each other. So the first thing you need to do is be open to the fact that you might not be the only nerd in the area. You might not be the only person who wants to play Warhammer in the area. The best place to check it out is on Facebook. I know a lot of people don't like to use Facebook, but honestly, it's one of the best ways of finding communities around here. You can go onto Facebook, search for local places. I know up here in Alaska, we've got the AKW, which is the Alaska Wargaming, which is just a Facebook group where people get together and they post about the modeling that they're doing. They post about rules questions. They post about tournaments coming up. They post about getting together for games and scenarios. They talk about the games that they've played. It's a really vibrant community on Facebook there that gets people together. I've met most of the people that I've played there. Most of the people that you've seen on the channel are on there, and I've met a lot of them through that AKW, and they see me post the videos, and they got together, and we ended up coming together for our battles because of AKW, because of the Facebook group. So join the Facebook, look around for Facebook groups for your local area. So search for, whatever town or whatever city or town it is, and game, and wargaming or gaming or whatever it is. Look for it and try to find if there is one. If there isn't one, start one, because you don't know who else is also looking for them. So go in there, start a group. Even if you're the only one there for a while, maybe you'll find that one person that ends up looking around for it and getting in touch with you and comes together and finds a way to get together with you. So Facebook is the prime place I would do to go look and see if you can find anything on there already. Once on Facebook, there's also Meetup, which is what I've learned. That's how I found out about board gaming up here in Alaska and Anchorage. When I first got up here, I got together with Meetup, board game meetup group, and I found some friends on there too that I've played, role playing and all sorts of different things together. So give that a shot. Look up on Meetup, meetup.com, just type it, search for Meetup. I'm sure you'll be able to find it there. Basically, it's just people where they put together groups and getting together. So again, if you can't find anything there, post something there. I know a lot of you think it's just a small town. You don't know who else is in there because you live in that small town and you like this hobby, you like the gaming, you like being a nerd. So why can't there be a second person like you on there in your town where you live? You know what I mean? Why can't there be a third or a fourth, whatever it is? I know the bigger the city, the more likely you're going to be able to find people. But the smaller cities, still, there's a chance of meeting them. Like I said, I found nerds in Macomb, Mississippi, which I never thought I was going to. And I did. You just have to be open to it. You have to be observant. The second thing I would suggest is getting around town, going out there, being out there. Because if you just sit at your computer, you're not necessarily going to be able to find everyone. So if you've exhausted your searching on the computer, go physically search the town. Go hang out wherever downtown or something like that. Look for someone with a t-shirt. Maybe wear your t-shirt. Go out, buy a t-shirt that's got a gaming aspect to it, like a Warhammer t-shirt or whatever it is. Just flaunt, fly your nerd flag high and let other people know that you're a nerd and that you're out about. Because that's how I found my nerd friends down in Mississippi. If I'm being honest, the first time it was I saw this guy with a Doctor Who shirt, and I was like, oh, it's another nerd. I need to find it. I need to become friends with him. And then we became friends, and that's how I got into meeting other people who were also into the same kind of thing. So go out into the town, go have lunch in places wearing t-shirts that are very distinctly nerdy. And if you see other people with distinctly nerdy shirts, go say hi. You know what I mean? If they're busy, if they look like they're in the middle of something, don't go interrupt them. But if they're just hanging out, walking by or doing whatever, just saying hi isn't going to hurt. Be out there, be open. I know a lot of us are, could be introverts. I'm very obviously not an introvert, but at the same time, it might be worth it to just go out and say hi to somebody. You know what I mean? Why not? It doesn't hurt. It really, really doesn't hurt to go out and just say hi. I noticed your t-shirt. That's really cool. I love that game, cartoon, anime, comic, whatever it is, and just start a conversation with that and then develop from there. Next thing that I can talk about is just, like I said, kind of going along with those, is being open and being honest with who you are and what you do. You know what I mean? If you're still a closet nerd, how's anyone going to know that you're a nerd and want to get together with you to do nerd things unless you're being open and honest with yourself and everyone around there? You know what I mean? Especially at this time, like back in the day, I'm talking from experience. Back when I first went into college, I tried to hide it. I tried to not be the nerd because I thought that I would get ridiculed for it. But nowadays, nerds are cool. You know what I mean? Check it out. Chris Hardwick, that guy is a good-looking individual, and he is a very rich individual with a booming media conglomerate that he's put together with Nerdist. And he's just very open and honest about being a nerd, and he talks about it all the time about how he had to come, had to have a, a coming to himself kind of reasoning where he had to realize that this is what he wanted to do, this is what he likes, and then that's what he needed to pursue. He needed to do what made him happy and be open and honest, and that's what led to what he does. And I think that you need to do the same thing, is you need to be open and honest, and if you're open and honest, you hold yourself available to other people seeing that and coming to you. So, wear the t-shirts, talk about it with people, be open with your coworkers. That's how I got into Warhammer again. I used to do it way back when I was in a tween or in a teenager, and I couldn't get my friends to do it, so the models just ended up back in a case down in my parents' basement. But when I got up here to Alaska, I put bobbleheads up in my cubicle. I made it very open and aware that I was a nerd. One of my friends, Ted of Mob Rules, he came to me one day and was like, "I noticed you're a nerd. Would you be interested in, have you ever heard of Warhammer?" And I said, "Oh, I have heard of it. I don't know if I've got the time or the money to do it." And he was like, "Well, why don't you just come and play a game?" So he opened it up his house, offered me to come over, and the rest is history. That's where we are. I'm running a YouTube channel. We both do a podcast together. And that's, the reality is that we were just, both me being open about being a nerd and him being open to come and talk to me about it and offer it, is what got me into the hobby again. And that's what got us into starting a community together. And there was an established Warhammer community, but it was kind of slowing down a bit here, but people got together and pushed, which gets me into the next session, which is, if you can find a nerd store, just any nerd store, you can start to develop a place where this can happen. So the game where you see most of my games recorded at, Tier 1 Cards of Games, when I first got here, didn't do Warhammer. It just didn't have it. So, but they did HeroClix, which is why I was there. I started doing that, and then they started offering some stuff with Warhammer as people started getting interested, and more. It just led to more and more. And now they're probably the biggest Warhammer store here in Anchorage. And it just became, we developed a community around there. We developed a group of people that got together, played games there, a group of people that came and that play there often. We do tournaments there because we've had a location. It doesn't have to be a game store. I know in Europe especially, a lot of them are in clubs. So you might want to look around and see if there's any clubs around, gaming clubs that have, I know that's how they get together there. But if you can just find a place where people can get together, that's one of the biggest hurdles is just having a place to go. And if you can get that place together and you can get a place where people can come together to play games, they will come together and play games. So find your local area and make a local area. Whether it's a community center, whether it's, the library, maybe you just get together at the library, and the table might not be, exactly 4 foot by 6 foot, but you could get together at there and play some games, put in some scenery onto a table. And a lot of libraries have community areas. We used to do board gaming at the local library here, and I'm sure they'd be happy to host it. Maybe one Sunday a month, or every other Sunday or something like that. And you can get together and play games there. And that's, once you find that place, then advertise that place. Put up flyers around town. Talk to people. Put it up on Facebook. Put it up around at different places. Because if there's not already a thriving community where you're at, then maybe it's up to you to make a thriving community where it's at, and it falls on you to be the driving impetus behind making it happen. So go out there, talk to people, put up flyers, get people interested. And be open about it, and play games. If you can find one other person and you can play a game in a public place, I guarantee you people are going to come over and ask what's going on, ask what it's about. It happens all the time when I'm playing the game store. The number of people who were Magic players at the store that then became Warhammer players because they would see us playing Warhammer all the time is huge. Milo, the guy who does who has the really cool Tau, He's plays with Eldar. He's played with some Space Wolves. He's been on the channel quite a bit. He started as a Magic player, and he saw us playing, and he decided to get involved with it. There's a couple other guys that were Magic players that then got into 40K because they saw us playing and thought it looked cool. thought it was worth giving a shot. So if you're out there and you're playing games in a public place, people will see it and people will be interested in asking you what's going on, and then you can get them interested too. Have them come over and play a game. You know what I mean? If you go out and buy the starter set, that's 2 armies right there that you can put together, and you can have 2 people playing a game. And that's $160, you know, with before any discounts that you can find. And you've got all the rules, you've got all the dice, you've got the measuring stick. I think they've got like a measuring thing. They've got everything you would need to play a game in there. With 2 armies, you're good to go. And if you have that out in a public place, people can come play. People would be interested. So find the place, put yourself out there, let people come to you, go to other people, just let it be known that you want this to be a part of it. Because the whole point of starting a community is getting out there. You know, you can't have a community in private. If you have a community in private, it doesn't become a community. It becomes just, you know, nothing. It falls apart real quick. It's just you and whoever. So go out there, play a game with your friends at like the library, play a game with your friends at a local game store, play with your local friends at, I don't know, at the mall, somewhere, anywhere. It doesn't make a difference. As long as you're playing the game together out in the public, at the local university, something like that. People will come and see what's going on if it's in a public place, and they'll ask what's happening, and you can get them involved in. Happens a lot. Another option that you can have at that point is try to see if there's other semi-related events that occur there. You know what I mean? I know that here, up here in Anchorage, they have something called SenchiCon, which is mostly, it's an anime and gaming centric convention that they have here yearly that started as just like a very small thing at the local university and has grown into a much, much bigger thing. And they put on events throughout the year now. And our local store decided that they wanted to do a big event. So they're doing something called Battlezone Ursa, which is a big event that's kind of, it's by the gamers for the gamers. But it had a lot of, the store owner, Jean here at Tier 1, she contacted the guy who runs SenchiCon, and they worked together so that they could put on a bigger convention up here called Battlezone Ursa, where they have a gaming convention. So they have a 40K tournament, X-Wing tournament, a whole bunch of different tournaments together over a weekend, and it's a lot of fun. I'm unfortunately going to miss it this year because I'm going to be down in Georgia, but hopefully I'll be coming back for it again because I think it's a great thing. I think it could be a huge event that could really draw a lot of people, but it started because people put themselves out there and they contacted a related event, so SenchiCon, and they were able to work together to put on something to get some gaming. So maybe not its own convention, maybe you can talk to your local anime convention or something like that. If you live near a university, I can almost guarantee you there'll probably be one there. See if there is one and talk to them and say, hey, you know, is it cool if I put on some demo games? You know, just have a gaming table at your convention for people to play Warhammer with. A lot of those conventions, especially the smaller ones, are always looking for events to happen and for anything to draw anyone. So go there, push it forward, and try to have it, you know? Especially if you can have painted armies, that really draws people's attentions. You know, have some 2 painted armies there ready to play and just ask people to come and play, you know? Throw together a quick game together, you know, or just do a turn or something like that just so people can get an idea of what goes on with rolling the dice and see how cool it is. And at that, you know, and at that point, that event, they're nerds. You know, they're there for a reason. They're there for anime or whatever the convention was, but they're nerds. And you're going to have an easier time kind of pulling them into that to try to do it. So that's a really good way to try to like develop a community around whatever's going on. Another option that you have is to kind of Shanghai your friends into doing it. You know what I mean? And again, a good way to do it is I have a couple friends up in New York who I kept telling over and over again, I'm like, you guys should do Warhammer, you should do Warhammer, you should do Warhammer. And my friends were like, oh, whatever, I don't have the time or the patience to do that. Guess what? My friends are not doing Warhammer up there. You know, and that's really great, the friends of New York. So I will be able to play with them. And basically what I did was I brought my armies. I was like, this is the game. Let's play a game. Let's get together. Let's just have some fun. Let's play some games. And they just got into it. Now they're doing it themselves without me even being there. And now I know when I go back home, I can get some games in with them, which would be sweet, which would be a lot of fun. So yeah, go out there and just, you know, Shanghai your friends. Get them and just say, hey, this Friday, why don't you come over and we'll play a game? You know, if you buy the starter set, you can have them both come. I have a friend here who has a bunch of his friends that he puts together that he just has the starter set, so they borrow some of his models and they just have fun throw it together on the kitchen table and just have a good time, which is what it's all about. And if you can start even small, you then have 2 people that can go out and play a game in public, that can get the attention of a 3rd person who comes, and now the 3 of you play a game. Now the 3 of you go out and get a 4th person. Now you have 2 different games going on, and it just builds from there. If you're trying to develop a community, the best thing you can do is be open and be welcoming, because that's what you want people to come and hang out with you. That's what it is, and people are going to invest time and effort and eventually money into this. They're going to want to do it because they're going to want to hang out with you. You know what I mean? The reason I can get people to play games with me on my channel is because we have fun. I keep it calm, I keep it cool, I keep it just entertaining, and we have a good time. We throw some dice together. I'm not a jerk, and that's why people want to keep playing with me. And if you can not be a jerk, that's fine. You know what I mean? Be true to the rules, but don't be an ass. You know what I mean? Don't make 2 armies where they are just going to get slaughtered by your army, because you might win that one game, but now you're not going to be able to play a second game. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you have to lose to them automatically. No one really wants to be, pandered to like that. But what you can do is just have a fun game where you keep it loose. If they forget the psychic phase, let them go back and do it. Whatever it is, just be open and be welcoming and have fun. You know what I mean? And just keep it entertaining for everybody involved. And that's how you're going to get people to come and want to hang out with you. Because at the end of the day, why is someone going to want to spend all of their weekend building models, painting models, and then hanging out playing models? It's because it's got to be fun. It's got to be something that's worthwhile to them. And if it isn't worthwhile to them, they're not going to want to do it. And the whole point of developing a community is creating a place where people want to come to. So whether they want to come to game, whether they want to come to do whatever, make sure that that's what you do, is you make it opening, you make it welcoming, and you just have fun. You know what I mean? If you call someone a noob, they're not going to ask another question. They're not going to come back. If you get salty, they're not going to come back. If you start calling people out for choosing an army that you don't like, they're not going to come back. And you're not going to have a community, and you're going to be stuck at home not playing a game. So let them build whatever army they want to build. Let them play whatever army they want to play. Have fun, and then talk with each other, encourage each other, and help each other along the process. You know what I mean? If someone decides that they want to play Necrons and you hate Necrons, so what? Get over it. Help them build those Necrons. Give them some advice on how to paint those Necrons. If someone decides that they want to play a tank-heavy list, a tank-heavy army, and you just have that's what you have the hardest time. You struggle against tanks. Oh well. Make a different list. Go out there, help them, encourage them. Whatever it is that's going to get them involved in that hobby is going to help you develop a community. And then once you have a super thriving community, if you've got dozens of people to which to choose to play against, you don't have to play those lists if you don't want to. But if you're developing a community, you damn well better play those games, because otherwise you're going to be left at home alone with your models, not being able to do anything with them. So essentially what you need to do is check and see if there is a community out there, because I found one here and I never knew it was here. I found people down in Mississippi that I never knew were there. I found it in Savannah, Georgia the first time I moved there, and I never knew about it. And it's all about just being open and looking, seeing what's out there. If there really isn't anything out there, then it's on you to start it. So then you need to start putting yourself out there. Let people see you being a nerd. Let people see what it is that you like to do. Go out there and put together a game day. Put together 2 models, 2 armies, so that you've got a starter set worth of armies. Put them together, build them, preferably paint them, and then have a day at the library. Maybe just that first time, you just sit there. Put up flyers, say every first Sunday or every second Sunday of the month, you're going to be there. And you go, you hang out, maybe you just spend some time reading a book for a while, and then you leave for the day, and that day no one came. But maybe the next time someone happens to come by and sees that you've got this armies there, and you can play. Put yourself out there, be open, and be willing to talk to strangers. I know it's hard. I know it's very hard for a lot of people, but that's kind of what it takes to really start a community, is put yourself out there and put it out there that that's what you want to do. Look to see if there's any way you can work with established, anything that's already established. So talk to a nerd store. So maybe it's a comic book store that doesn't really have gaming stuff, but maybe they want to put in, they may want to put in one little display case of Warhammer models, just it's another option for them to be able to sell some stuff. I'm sure that their distributors might be the same, that you can get the stuff through. So just go and talk to the owner and say, hey, would you like, maybe we could start, maybe you can start bringing in some 40K. Maybe they've got some space for where they have Magic tournaments that happen. It would be easy enough to put together some cheap and easy terrain that you can have some games that go on there maybe once a month when they're not having Magic tournaments. Be willing to work with them, because understand that, as much as you love Warhammer, those card games and everything like that, that's what keeps the lights on in those game stores. So you may not want to get involved with that, but that's what pays them. That's what pays their living. That's the bread and butter of a gaming nerd store. So work with them with that, and just have another option that maybe you can work with that established store there, that they can bring in some stuff. Because once you have some stuff there, people are going to want to look, and they're going to want to have a place once you get involved where they can get it. So work with that. Maybe look to see if there's an associated, like a loosely associated nerd convention, so an anime convention, a comic book convention, anything like that. Small ones that just happen at local universities are a great place to look. Game stores, anything like that. Beyond that, just put yourself out there. Be open, be welcoming, start a Facebook group, do whatever it takes to just get out there, because it's real easy to say, woe is me, there is no group here, there's no community here where I can play. But I can almost guarantee you that there's at least one other nerd in wherever you are that would be willing to play some games. Because gaming is fun, Maybe start it with some board games, you know what I mean? Make it easy. Some entry-level board games, some Catan, or some Carcassonne, and get them involved in gaming. And once they start doing gaming, then you can expand them into the harder stuff, like Warhammer. So community is one of the strongest and most important things that you can really have here in this hobby that we play. Because without another person, you can't really, it's hard to have a game. You can play yourself, but that gets boring. So having a community is important in this, and that's the most important thing that's happened to me in this gaming is the community. We're developing a community here, and I have a community at AK in Alaska. There's going to be a community in Savannah that I'm going to get involved with, and just get involved with as many communities as possible. Go onto Warhammer pages on Facebook that aren't just local, and reach out and throw it out there. Say, hey, does anyone from, blah blahville, anybody who's looking for a game near here? Maybe they're a half hour away and you guys can meet up. That'd be kind of cool. You might not see each other daily at lunch, like when you pass each other at lunch, but a half hour drive is nothing. I drive 45 minutes up to the store up in Wasilla to go for tournaments. Drive a little bit of driving is not going to kill anybody. And just go out there and have some fun. Go out there and put yourself out there and find people that want to do what you do, because they're out there, But it takes some effort sometimes. You can't just sit back and wait for someone to come up to you. I lucked out, had someone actually physically come up to me and start it, but that doesn't mean that that's, the only way to do it. I got involved in the HeroClix scene here and the board gaming scene here and the role-playing scene here by putting myself out there. I went to the store, made it happen, and that's how it works. So you can do the same thing with Warhammer. So those are just some of my ideas, some of my thoughts. I do want to let you know that the next couple weeks might be tough on getting out I'm going to try the best I can to get something out for Deep Thoughts, but I'm going to be traveling from Alaska down to Georgia. So it's going to be 4,500 miles of driving over 10 days. So I'm going to try to do what I can, but I can't guarantee that the internet's going to be good enough for me to get some things uploaded. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try what I can and see what we can accomplish. So, but I hope you guys keep the conversation going about this. Let me know what you guys did to get involved, because I know a lot of you are part of communities, and I know a lot of you have started communities, and I know some of you have had a hard time finding communities. So let me know what you've done. Let me know what you have tried. Let me know what didn't work for you, and maybe what you like about what I've just said. Maybe it spurs you to try something. And let me know how it goes. You know what I mean? And let me know if there's anything I can do to help. You know what I mean? I'm always happy to give out whatever advice I can on things that have worked for me. And I try to do it in these videos, but I'm also pretty good at responding to comments and letting people know what's going on. So keep the conversation going down below. You know, drop a comment. Just let me know what works for you. Let me know what you think would also work. Even if you haven't tried it or anything, just some ideas, and keep those flowing, and we can, you know, maybe make this a resource for people to help them find their community, find what's going on. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. And remember, until next time, have fun.